Mr. Beat up. Mr. Beat Up.
I have the beat that describes that moment accurately.
Welcome back to Mr. Beat Up. This is a segment where we have Simon, Mr. Beat Up. Welcome.
Yeah, great to be here. Glad the segment's got another run for 2025.
Yes, he is looking at stocks that have taken a beating but are not completely out of the picture. Stocks that have been oversold or perhaps the market has overreacted. And we've had some pretty decent picks over 2024, but you've got a new one for us today. What have you got?
Yeah, so this is a really good one today. This is actually the most volatile stock in the whole of the S&P 500 last year, meaning it had the highest fluctuations in price movements. It actually got a brief mention in the last Mr. Beat Up segment, but I think it actually deserves its own discussion now. It is Super Micro Computers, ticker SMCI.
Nice. So for a bit of context, when you last spoke about it, just mentioned it in Mr. Beat Up. In fact, to draw the curtain back, you were pretty keen to do Super Micro last year, and we were like, maybe don't, because it was potentially getting delisted.
Yeah.
It didn't, full credit. At that stage, it was $18. Now it's 27. So up 50% already, but it is still beaten up. It's down 75% from its all-time high of $114.
So for those new to Supermicro, they design and manufacture high-performance servers, storage, and networking solutions for cloud computing, AI, 5G, and data centers. So right in that picks and shovels play for what is going on with AI at the moment.
I think, like, for the layman's explanation of it is NVIDIA make these high-performing chips, then Supermicro make the racks and everything else that the chips sit in and actually power data centers.
Yeah. So one example of a customer is Elon Musk's xAI. They have the largest liquid-cooled AI supercomputer in the world called Colossus. 100,000 of these NVIDIA GPUs.
Well, but xAI is making 1 million cluster GPU, aren't they, this year?
Are they? Wow.
I think so. I think they've announced
I'm
that.
even more bullish now.
So basically,
question.
it's like, there was this saying when Supermicro was running really hard, and in the early days of this AI hype cycle, I won't call it a bubble, but the AI hype cycle, the saying was first you buy NVIDIA, then you buy Supermicro.
Yeah, and
You would have done better. Just keep buying NVIDIA.
Collapse. So, good customer base, stocks up. Why is it beaten down?
Well, so they had this incredible run during the AI boom 2023, early 2024, but it's come crashing down to earth since then. So it went all the way up to about 119 in March. A big catalyst was that in August, Hindenburg Research, famous short seller, came out with a bombshell report. They alleged there'd been accounting manipulation, undisclosed related party transactions, and also sanctions and export control failures. The next day, Supermicro then delayed its filings of its Q4 financials. Then in October, the auditor, EY, they resigned. They said, we're unwilling to be associated with these financial statements. So then rumors of potential NASDAQ delisting started swirling.
No, it wasn't rumors. NASDAQ came out and said, if you don't file properly audited financials, you're out.
So a real risk of a delisting. The stock got hammered, bottomed out around $18. It was also then dropped from the NASDAQ 100 as part of the rebalancing it does each year.
Just like it went from 118, 119 to 18.
Yeah.
Like that is a massive.
That's a beat up.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Since then, the company have said it's conducted an internal probe, led by a special board committee with attorneys, forensic accounting firm was involved. And they concluded there was no evidence of fraud or misconduct by the management. They've also hired BDO as a new auditor and received an extension from NASDAQ to file its results by Feb 25th. So the stock then bounced a bit on this news, but then again, recently it's been caught up in this DeepSeek-led AI rout, and it's dropped back down to $27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we're not fully embracing all of Hindenburg's report because so they said accounting manipulation and then all the financial stuff blew up. The one that is interesting to me is sanctions and export control failures, because Supermicro have a history of not complying with
dodgy.
certain rules. They got caught selling to Iran in breach of US export controls, but they've also had like this really close tie-up with China in the years since. and people have questioned that relationship. There's been instances where there has been, Chinese spying technology found in their servers and the like. And it does make me think, so you know how the NVIDIA story has been playing out with DeepSeek, and people have been pointing to NVIDIA's Singapore sales, and they're saying that that's how the Chinese companies are getting NVIDIA GPUs through Singapore. It's like, is some of the allegations that may come out as part of this whole investigation people buying NVIDIA GPUs and they're building data centers, they probably are trying to buy Supermicro technology as well. So for me, there's probably some pages of this book still to be written, but that's not what we're here to do, Simon. You're here because you think it's beaten up and there's a potential turnaround. So what makes you positive about this?
Well, I think just quickly on that point, I think for me that is the biggest thing which makes me nervous, is if they get found guilty or there is they have been selling illegally to China, particularly with Trump's stance you're seeing on China and US manufacturing, etc. So I think that's definitely a fair point and a big risk. But for me, I just think this is a classic risk versus reward setup. It's risky, but the upside potential here is massive. Like before this happened, people were tipping this to go to $1,000 a share based on the sales forecasts. So if you believe their numbers, they actually do still have quite good operational momentum. So they published some preliminary results for this quarter sales, Q1 sales, and they're saying they're going to be between $5.9 and $6 billion, which is an increase of 180% year on year. I mean, that's faster growth than NVIDIA, which was astonishing at 94%. But for the full year, they're actually forecasting growth in sales of about 60% plus. But here's the thing. They're currently trading at a trailing PE ratio of around 14 and a forward price earnings ratio around 10. That's less than half the S&P 500's average, around 24. And, fast-growing companies, it's not uncommon to see them 50 plus on a PE. So it's stunningly low valuation if these growth rates can continue.
Yes. So that is the financial side. It's obviously got some pretty significant tailwinds more broadly, though, with what's going on in AI.
Yeah, we probably don't need to talk too much about this. I know you guys did break down this quite a bit on Monday's ep, but it's undeniable. This is one of the hottest industries globally. McKinsey, for example, they're predicting AI-ready data center capacity will grow an average of 33% a year up until 2030. Then there's Stargate, the $500 billion. That's going to be used to build massive data centers across the US.
The next point that you've got here is probably the most important point, because there's this huge compute spend coming, particularly focused around AI data centers. And the question is, who's going to win share of wallet there? And your final point is competitive advantage.
Yeah, so competitive advantage, I think there's a couple of things here. Like, there is a lot of competition in this space, but the pie is growing and they have a top tier product, which is in high demand. So their edge, Supermicro present their edge in two areas. One is their speed to market. So highly customized solutions. They say they can move quicker than Dell or HPE, which are main competitors. And also they're known for energy efficient designs, which is a big selling point. Obviously data centers, they use huge amounts of energy. So anything they can do to cut costs and energy is going to be advantageous. But probably the biggest thing is their deep partnerships with NVIDIA. So as we mentioned earlier, they incorporate NVIDIA's GPUs into server systems for data centers. And Jensen Huang, he's CEO of NVIDIA, he spoke with Supermicro CEO Charles Liang last year at a conference in Taipei. And he described himself as Liang's long-term partner and Supermicro's best sales guy.
Nice.
And he also went on to say that the estimated $3 trillion poured into new data centers by 2030 would see demand for Supermicro computers solutions soar. And Charles and Supermicro, they're ready to take your orders and deliver.
Nice.
Nice. Well,
Tempting.
yeah, it is interesting. Like I can see the logic. I guess the downside would be potentially it gets delisted again. Potentially you have to take some of the financial numbers with a grain of salt if they don't get passed by a second auditor. So really 25th of Feb is their deadline. So that's what you're watching for. Some of the export control issues, like you can see them getting caught. But similar to what happened with Iran back in 2006, it's probably just a fine, and it's probably not existential. As the regulators are pretty soft when it comes.
Have
to
they given
big
any
business.
comms on the delisting so far?
They haven't asked for an extension, which people are seeing as a good sign, because actually in 2018 they asked for an additional extension.
Yeah.
So you'd think if they wanted an extension, they'd be saying it now. They wouldn't wait until we get really close. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice one. Well,
Wow.
let's watch this space.
Well, it's on
Certainly one to
record
track.
now. Officially on record.
yeah.
You did say
Yeah.
it last year.
Yeah.
But definitely one to watch. If you have a stock for Mr. Beat Up to get his eyes across, head to equitymates.com/contact. We'll make sure that he has a look at it. He's got a few segments coming up this year. Plenty going on in markets. A lot of, volatility out there at the moment. Perfect for Mr. Beat Up.
Lots of opportunities.
Yes.
Opportunity.
Thank you, Simon.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.
Equity.